The dim light of the containment chamber flickered as I moved carefully through the shadows, my heart racing. I had been assigned to observe the anomalies within SCP-039, a group of proboscis monkeys that had been drastically altered. They were not just any monkeys. They had been endowed with strange abilities. The room was quiet, save for the soft chirps and snorts that echoed off the walls. I leaned closer, peering into the enclosure, when suddenly a loud crash broke the silence. One of the monkeys had knocked over a toolbox, its nimble fingers reaching for the tools inside. "Hey, be careful!" I shouted, instinctively stepping back as I felt a surge of adrenaline. The monkeys had developed the ability to use mechanical tools, and I had witnessed their uncanny skills firsthand. They were capable of changing tires, fixing engines, and more. The thought of their intelligence sent a chill down my spine. I had been tasked with monitoring their progress, but the more I observed, the more I realized how dangerous this situation could become. The Foundation had contained them, but what if they began to communicate on a level we couldn't comprehend? As I watched them, I couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that they were more aware of us than we were of them. Suddenly, I heard a rustling behind me. I turned to see SCP-039A, the humanoid anomaly, Jacob. He was a man stripped of his facial features, yet somehow he moved with a grace that was both eerie and fascinating. I had seen him interact with the monkeys before, and it was unlike anything I had ever witnessed. "How are you today, Jacob?" I asked, trying to engage him while suppressing my unease. His response was a simple nod, but then he gestured towards the monkeys. The proboscis monkeys seemed to respond to him, their vocalizations shifting to a series of high-pitched snorts and chirps. I felt a tingle run up my spine. "Do you understand them?" I pressed, curious about the bond they shared. He picked up a tablet and typed, the words appearing on screen. "They communicate through touch and sound. I feel connected." Feeling a mix of intrigue and dread, I took a step closer. "What do you mean, connected?" He paused, staring at the monkeys as they played. "They are not just animals. They are more." A loud clang erupted from the other side of the chamber, pulling my attention away from Jacob. A monkey had found the toolbox again, and it was now frantically trying to piece together some kind of makeshift device. I glanced back at Jacob, whose expression was one of deep concentration. "Can you teach them anything?" I ventured, my curiosity piqued. He nodded once more, his fingers dancing across the screen. "They learn quickly. They understand more than we do. They are evolving." The implications of his words sent a shiver through me. What if these monkeys were learning to outsmart us? I glanced nervously at the exit, feeling the weight of their responsibility on my shoulders. Just then another loud crash startled me, and I turned to see one of the monkeys had managed to escape its enclosure. It stood on the edge, holding a wrench in its tiny hand, looking right at me. My breath caught in my throat. "Jacob!" I shouted, backing away. "Get back!" But he simply stood there, watching the monkey with an intensity that was both unnerving and captivating. The other monkeys began to vocalize, forming a chorus of sounds that reverberated through the chamber. "What are you doing?" I demanded, glancing between Jacob and the escaping monkey. "Teaching," he typed slowly, his eyes locked on the little creature. Suddenly, the monkey tossed the wrench aside and leaped down, running toward Jacob. I felt panic rise in my chest. Then, to my shock, Jacob crouched down, and the monkey touched him, snorting excitedly. It was as if they were communicating in a language deeper than words. In that moment, the realization hit me. Jacob was no longer just a subject. He had become something else entirely. The monkeys had found a leader, and it was him. The ground trembled beneath me as the other monkeys began to mimic Jacob's gestures, forming a circle around him. It was a scene that felt both majestic and terrifying. They were not merely animals anymore. They were part of something greater, something that could threaten the very foundation of what we thought we knew about intelligence and evolution. Then the lights flickered violently, plunging the chamber into darkness. I could hear the monkeys screeching, their sounds distorted and wild. I fumbled for the emergency light, but when it flickered back on, I was met with an empty enclosure. Where Jacob had stood, there was nothing but silence. The monkeys were gone too, their absence echoing in the stillness. I felt a rush of dread wash over me. In that moment, I understood the twisted truth. The Foundation had created something they could not contain. They had underestimated the bond that formed between Jacob and the monkeys, a bond that had transcended the boundaries of species. As I turned to flee, the last thing I heard was a chorus of intelligent, human-like laughter echoing behind me, sending chills down my spine. They were more than just monkeys now. They had become a new breed of intelligence, and I was terrified of what they would do next.